that is how you maintain that power, is the change in the concepts of language by either burying them in euphemisms or acronyms or various other things. But one of the things they talk about is eliminating a lot of language so that people can't think clearly, so that their way that they speak is consistently shallow.
Yes.
And that is a cornerstone of this book.
Because according to Sapir Whorf, which you were telling me about before.
Right. So Sapir Whorf is kind of this social theory. It kind of fell out of favor in the 70s and 80s, but now, like, neurologists have kind of shown that, in fact, there is some validity to the fact that that language influences perception, and that's the idea of the Sapir Whorf hypothesis. Is a linguistic hypothesis, and how much is the question, but it does clearly influence our feelings. Certain emotions, certain ideas are not present cross-culturally.
If you can't describe things to yourself, you can't understand them. That's just kind of how it goes.
And the first stage, Benjamin Sapir wrote his first essay on this in 1924. So it's quite likely that this was a concept that George Orwell was familiar with. And so I'm sure that influenced the idea of newspeak. But back to the unalive thing, one of the things they talk about is why in the newspeak approach have two words when you can have one. So the example is instead of having good and bad, you have good and ungood. So you have alive and unalive.
Person and unperson.
Person and unperson. Yeah. So adding un to something, adding a negative power, and he describes this all in the appendix. And I think the appendix is really his way of describing how he's info dumping for you to talk about how he created this idea of newspeak in a way that's not intrusive to the plot, because you don't have to read the appendix to understand newspeak, but it adds this additional dimension.
Yes.
Acronyms, and the goal of the book is, so the book takes place in the year 1984, which is the reverse of the year it was published, which is 1948. And he said the idea of the newspeak is that by 2050, there will be not enough critical language left for the regime to ever die.
Yeah, so if the regime can hold out till 2050, they're basically made in the shade. Absolutely. And they've come up with a very convenient way of silencing dissenters by having traps laid everywhere for people who are thinking. Which I think that's brilliant. It's evil genius. And having the spies, the little kids. There's a program that's like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts for children in 1984, but like it's called the Spies.
Youth. Yeah.
The Hitler Youth.
It's like the Hitler Youth.
Where they train the children to inform on their parents if they ever witness their parents performing a thought crime, which is really interesting because Pearson, who's like this big, blustering, jovial, super bought-in member of the party that's a colleague of Winston's, his children are terrifying. The one time that you see them in the book, they are so fucking sinister. And also, just imagine they're little British children, which is like the scariest type of children you can have.
Yeah.
You know? Children of the Corn and shit.
Or Pink Floyd The Wall.
Yeah, exactly. And so you find out later when Winston is captured, and Pearson comes in and he's like, oh, my daughter got me. She heard me saying in my sleep, down with Big Brother, and I couldn't believe I was saying that. But what a good job I did raising her to inform on me.
I'm happy that she's such a good little member of the party.
Exactly.
Like he's like so, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, this idea of thought crime, this idea that just going against the party, even just by thought, is too much. And so that's the point, is to create language in such a way that it is impossible to commit thought crime.
Yeah.